So we got Instagram on my phone. I got Facebook, LinkedIn, X, YouTube on my camera down here. So I'm gonna do double duty. So this is the second time. Jay Hunter, what's up? I reached out to your friend, Jess, your friend that we spoke about. I can't remember her last name now, but I reached out to her via Instagram today. I DM'd her, just let her know, because I know she's not on all the time. In any case, what's up, Ada? I got two clients on here. I got Jay Hunter and I got the Wellness Room LLC on here. So this is the first of all, allow me to introduce myself. My mother gave me better manners. For those that don't know me, my name is Ren Jones. I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm a certified corrective exercise specialist, both of those through National Academy of Sports Medicine. I'm certified level 1 and level 2 as a nutrition coach, both of those through Precision Nutrition. I've completed the Menopause 2.0 course from Dr. Stacy Sims, completed the Menopause Health and Fitness Coaching course through MedFit, and the Girls Gone Strong Menopause Coaching Specialist course, amongst some other courses that you really don't care about. But I'm here because I'm actually sharing something with the clients that I just talked about, something that we share in our client group every week. So every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we do a client Q&A. And the way that we do this is on Monday, there's a prompt in our clients only group. And the prompt says, hey, what questions do you have? I'm going to answer them tomorrow on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And my clients will submit all sorts of questions about their wellness journey. And the following day, which is today at 7:30 p.m., which is nowish, I answer those questions. And what we tell the clients in the group is, even if you can't be present for the Q&A, just comment that you'd like the replay. And any clients that want the replay so they can get their questions answered but not have to be there, I text message them the link to the replay and they can watch it later. So I'm sharing that with you all today, everybody else that's here, but it's a clients only thing. So every Tuesday we do this live question and answer session for the clients. They give me questions, I give them answers. Also, I want to mention that I got to pay the bills really quick, y'all. Please bear with me. I'm currently enrolling 5 women over 30 that want to build their healthiest relationship with their body, their healthiest relationship with food, without counting calories or macronutrients, no weighing or measuring food. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not what we do. And without spending hours and hours of their time in the gym. Very efficient process. It's called Women's Liberation Movement. That's the name of my program. The name of my company is Fitness Jones Training, and my name is Ren Jones. But let's get into the details, because I got my questions listed here, and we're just going to get into them. So, question number 1, and as things come up along the way, ladies, don't hesitate to chime in to the extent that you feel comfortable. Question number 1, Coach, can you address positive tactics to strengthen the mental side of this journey? We must know we make the difference through commitment. I've fallen victim to the vicissitudes of life. That's $1 million word, the challenges of life. And I'm fighting to get remotivated. How do we stay progressing when life happens? And then she signed, asking for a friend. So essentially the question is, how can I make this journey as positive as possible with the understanding that life things are going to happen and disrupt me? How can I keep going with the motivation? So the first thing, and she probably knows that I'm going to say this because I've had this client for more than a year now. The first thing I have to always say when the M word shows up, right? When motivation shows up, I'm getting some hate mail for this. I've got to say first that motivation isn't a thing, right? It's motivation is pixie dust. Motivation is a deadbeat parent, right? It's not going to show up to pick you up from school, unfortunately. We would like to think that parent's going to come and really this time they're really going to take us to Disney World, right? That's motivation, the deadbeat parent. What's most likely to happen is when we feel like we most need it, it's going to be most absent, because motivation is fleeting. It's a feeling. So what we have to rely on is habit, right? We've got to rely on habit. Now that we understand that, let's talk about habit, because one of the best things that we can do in terms of building habits consistently is, number 1, start small. Think about the fact that a very small hinge can swing a very big door. We don't have to swing on our habits, lest we fall victim to our motivation, I like to not plan when I'm feeling particularly motivated. I like to plan when I'm feeling particularly blah about a situation, because I find that I don't try to commit to things that are based on the spark of enthusiasm. Nothing wrong with being enthusiastic, but I'm absolutely planning for the worst case scenario in almost every context, in every situation in my life. What's the bare ass minimum here? Can I commit to that? So reducing to a bare ass minimum, even when, as the questioner put it, even when the vicissitudes of life, that's a great word, when the vicissitudes of life are impending and impeding our progress, having a bare ass minimum commitment that's doable in the worst of times is a great strategy. The second thing is having the ability to either acknowledge and isolate your victories, or have a partner, a victory buddy, who can help you find and talk about the wins, can be a great asset in being consistent in any endeavor, oftentimes out of a sense of sort of fictitious discipline, hard-nosing ourselves, 75 harding ourselves, oftentimes out of that thought process, because we see so much of that in these open spaces where we talk about wellness and et cetera, et cetera. Oftentimes because of that, we are unwilling to acknowledge the tiny victories that we're having. Tiny victory is not a good word. I'm going to reframe. Catch yourself, friend. Oftentimes we don't acknowledge the victories that we have, because victories don't come in sizes. They are absolute. It's a victory or it's not, and most things are victories. We're not really good at acknowledging our wins. One of the things that I do with every client, every week that we have a conversation, and my clients know this, and I'm gonna see if they type in, if any clients are on here, what do I always ask about? Just type the word. But the first thing that I do, every conversation I have with a client, and forgive me for looking over you, Instagram, I've got my camera here that's restreaming to Facebook and Twitter, X, and LinkedIn and something else. But there you go. Ada already answered the question. The Wellness Room LLC, that's one of my clients, Ada. She's also a coach. And when I said, what do I always ask about? And Jessica's also a client of mine, Jay Hunter. I always ask about the wins. I try to help, and they help me too, don't get it twisted, but I try to help these amazing ladies build the habit of isolating what they've done well. When you're able to articulate and isolate what you've done well, you've got some compassionate, graceful steam that allows you to continue, because we're all really good at criticizing ourselves. We are masterful. And if I just ask what's going on, typically the default response from a client is going to be, well, I didn't do this and I wanted to do that, but I wasn't able to get this accomplished. And that mentality can perturb us when, as the original poster said, when the vicissitudes of life are fighting and fighting to get remotivated. I don't depend on motivation, number one. Number two, I like to operate from a place of grace and forgiveness, because there's always a next opportunity for choice. Number three, I try to isolate the wins. What am I doing well, and build off of that instead of building off what I'm not doing well, because what we focus on expands. And what I want to expand is not the issues that I have. I want to expand the things that I'm doing well, and everybody's got to win, right? Everybody's done something well. In some cases, my clients will say, I don't know what I can't. And I'll say, well, did you set a call with your coach? And they'll say, yeah. I said, I know you did, because we're on the call right now. That's a win. You decided to engage with this thing that you invested in. You showed up, right? That's a win. And a lot of times we don't give ourselves credit for showing up, because we want to do so many amazing other things. But we don't realize that the simplicity of those incremental things that's what's actually growing to the big thing that you want to get accomplished. So take motivation off the shelf. It's a deadbeat parent. It's not coming to pick you up from school. You're not going to Disneyland this weekend. Not with that parent. What's up, Pam? And allow yourself to understand and articulate your victories. Talk about them often. Chart them in a book if you need to. Write a journal of your wins. And when you're feeling really crappy on that third day of the week, go back and page through all the things that you did well and know that your trajectory is taking you to the right place, because I think James Clear said, it's our trajectory, not our current situation, that we need to pay attention to. And I believe that wholeheartedly. So, oh, and she forgot to add, I like to go to bed around 9ish. So I worry about eating within that 2 hour window. Sometimes I have to. So a lot of my clients, we talk about maybe not eating within 2 hours before bed. It's not, there's nothing wrong with that. You're not a mogwai. You're not going to turn into a gremlin. You're not going to multiply. But for a lot of my clients, they're in the perimenopause. They're in the spectrum of menopause, from perimenopause to menopause, technically a day, to postmenopause. And in a lot of the cases, if they're choosing to eat very relatively close to bedtime, it could be disruptive to their sleep. And earlier today, I did a live broadcast here on Instagram specifically that I forgot to broadcast to the other channels that are watching on that camera. And I talked about the importance of sleep in your. So if you have to eat first, if I'm looking at the hierarchy of nutritional sort of interventions, choices, from my perspective as a dietary agnostic coach, right? I was raised nutritionally to be nutritionally agnostic. That means I don't have any sort of preset belief about methodology when it comes to nutrition. I'm choosing what I'm choosing based on the human in front of me. But I said all that to say, first, I believe in being fed, right? Fed first. The body needs energy, and we can talk about what you eat and when you eat and why you eat. But first, I like to go with fed, because on a planet where so many people don't have the ability to be well fed and nourished anytime they choose, I think it's somewhat blasphemous to get into nuts and bolts when you need to eat. So when you need to eat, first eat. So if you have to eat within that 2 hour window, I get it. Second, I consider the fact that sometimes or one time is not all the time. And the only thing that really has an effect on your life is the all the time things, right? Or at the very least, the most of the time things. The some of the time things don't really affect your life one way or other. You can go and run a mile right now, and if you don't run another mile until like 3 or 4 months from now, that mile, it didn't stick. Like, it didn't mean anything in the context of your life. So I look at it the same way when I'm not right. Yes, that's right. It raised the body temperature. That's right. It can really, really jack up your sleep, guys. Elevate your heart rate. And Ada and I both wear Oura rings. So when we eat and go to sleep, the next day it tells us about how our heart rate went up and how our body temperature went up. It was a good point, Ada. Thank you for chiming in on that. So first fed, next considerations for how that feeding is or isn't congruent with with your goal, right? Like, the choice that I made, is it more or less congruent with my goal? I'll consider it then. And then third, I might dive into some more deep considerations. But first, if you're hungry, go ahead and eat, right? Just go ahead and eat. You know, there's some things that we can talk about what happens during the course of the day when we get busy and we don't nourish our body. Live session for another discussion. I'm going to move to number two. Number two, what do you do when your legs can handle heavier weights than your grip can, specifically using dumbbells? Would it be better to switch to the squat belt or Olympic bar on the backs? And she said, ouch. If it's a squat or a lunge type of exercise. This is a good question. This comes up a lot. So my questioner, who is a comment, what's up, Lock Dream? My questioner here, who is a client, if you're just joining us, this is a client Q&A. I do this every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern in my clients only group. And what I'm doing this week is I've just opened it up. So this is the private conversation with my clients that everybody can see. That's why I'm not naming my clients as I'm asking the questions. So I'm just answering the questions that they submit on Monday. Every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. I answer the questions. And if they can't be here, they can tell me that they want the replay, and I'll text message them the link to this replay. So even if they're not able to be present, they can get the answers to their questions. And we do this every week in my clients only group. It's part of how my program works. So the question was, what do you do when your legs can handle more weight, but your grip strength can, right? Where do you go from there? There's a couple of options here. Option number one, as you mentioned, you can use a different The types of things that you use for your training, those are called modalities, right? A barbell would be a modality, a dumbbell would be a modality, a medicine ball would be a modality. So you can switch your modality. That's the word. The word of the day, MODALITY, modality. So you can switch modalities to make it easier. In this case, my client says they do have the belted machine. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this machine, but it's a weight machine that sits on the floor. You put a belt around you and the belt hooks to the machine. So when you squat down and you stand up, nothing's on your back and nothing's in your hands. It's belted around your body. That's a convenient modality if you're finding that what your grip can handle isn't enough weight for what your legs can push. Different modality. Second thing, you can go to a machine. A machine like a leg extension machine where you sit and you raise your legs out straight, bending at the knee, or better yet, a leg press, a lying on your back leg press where you lie on your back and you push the weight up, or a seated leg press where you're seated and you push the weight away. I like to use free weights typically because of the fact that I know that a free weight free weights cause you to use more of your muscle mass on your body, right? There's more activation of the muscle with a free weight because you've got weight that you need to control in space. There's no seat to rest it. There's no track on the machine to make sure that it stays in line front to back or side to side. It's all you. So you're using your stabilizer muscles to control that weight in space. It's not something that you have to do, but that's what I like. That's another option. You can work with they make gloves with hooks. So it'll be a glove. Let's see if I can. It'll be a glove and it'll have little hooks attached to the glove like this so that when you go down to get the weight, the hook goes onto the bar. And now you're allowing the hook to support the weight of a bar or dumbbell that you can't hold. The grip straps, there you go. They got the straps, you can wrap them around like this, and then you can wrap them around the bar and lift it up. There are a lot of different devices actually that can help solve this problem. Just takes a little thoughtfulness and a bit of ingenuity, but you can go for the assisted device attached to your hand. You can go for a different modality. You can go for a machine, right? All those things are in play. But yeah, I really do like the machine with the belt where you can squat down and the belt's attached to you and you just stand and hands are free. I've never been, forgive me for this blasphemy that I'm about to say on the internet, on Al Gore's internet, in the company of other fitness enthusiasts. I've never been a huge fan of the barbell back squat. I don't know why. It could be how I'm made. I'm 5'7" tall, so I'm not super short, but I'm certainly not tall by any stretch of the imagination. It could be the length of my femur. It could be the length of my tibia. It could be the lack of range of motion in my ankles. There's just something about the barbell back squat, putting that bar on my back and squatting down, that's never really agreed with me that much. I'm much more inclined to lunge, step up, dumbbell squat, leg press, something like that for my knee dominance, for my squatting movements. So that's question number 2. We got that one out of the way. Question number 3. If you're just joining us, we're doing a Q&A. This is the Q&A that happens in my private group for clients only each week, Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, where my clients submit questions to me on Monday. And on Tuesday, I come and answer the questions in a live format like this. They can ask more questions there if they want to. But if they're not able to be present, they always are able to tell me that they want a replay of the live broadcast. And I literally text message them the Facebook link to the live broadcast. So we're on question number 3 of 6. Question number 3 is, Ren, I know we've talked about diet culture stuff that's been ingrained in our age bracket. That is delicious. Age bracket here is 40 plus, midlife age bracket. Yeah, I don't like it on the Smith machine either. It's always a little weird. I just feel like the track of the Smith machine doesn't allow like my joints to get where I want to. Yeah, this bottle actually, sidebar, this bottle was a bottle of hot chocolate. I can't remember the brand, but just hot chocolate powder. And I liked the bottle and kept them all and cleaned them out. Um, I love drinking water out of a glass with those plastics in my body. Another lie for another time. But Ren, I know we talked about diet culture stuff that has been ingrained in our age bracket, 40 plus. I know some of maybe a big chunk of you ladies here turning 50 this year. So I'm having constant battles on the calorie counting versus eating slowly slash 80% full. I'll circle back around to that. She said, my rational brain prepares to eat slowly and the 80% full, it's a new habit for me, but I preemptively subconsciously count the calories of my meal as it's on my plate. Then I get into almost panic mode that 80% of what I have will be under eating. How can I not see calorie stickers on every food item? It's a bizarre thing to mentally struggle looking at a plate of chicken, Brussels sprouts, and sweet potatoes. Oh, great stuff, by the way. That sounds delicious. So effectively, the questioner, the commenter, I don't like the barbell squats either. A Facebook user chimed in. So the question fundamentally is, Ren, I'm learning a new way to eat. We're teaching eating slowly in the context of our group. It's one of the habits that we have through precision nutrition. It's not an uncommon habit, but for a lot of my clients, it's the first time they've interacted with it. The concept behind eating slowly is that it allows you to be mindful as you eat, and it also allows you to be able to interpret the signaling that your body's had enough food. There is a hormone called leptin, Leptin, that's secreted as the stomach becomes full, as you become satiated, and that signaling will get to your brain and it'll tell you, hey, there's enough here, we're good to stop. So that's one of the habits that we are deploying. And what the client is asking me is, why do I still look at a plate and think calories? I'm over the calories, I'm under the calories, either the right calories, either the wrong calories. So let's talk about two things that she asked here. Number one is, I go into a panic that 80% of what I have will be under eating, right? How can I not see calorie stickers on every food item? So here's what I like to say about calories, generally speaking. And there's nothing wrong with counting calories. Like, I'm not against it. I'm not downplaying it. My other client, Lynette, is on now. So I got 3 clients here now, which is awesome. Yeah, and Lynette's been through this, y'all. Like, Lynette's a veteran. We worked together for a while, and then she went and did another thing, and then she came back. Nothing was wrong with the other thing. It just for convenience and because we worked together. Not trashing any other coaches. She was fine where she was. She was like, yeah, let's pick back up, man. Let's get started again. So Lynette had this same issue learning this habit because it feels unusual, right? So here's what we have to understand about calories that I don't think it's widely discussed so that people understand it. The first thing is, for the most part, the counts for calories were originated like in the 1800s, right? Some guy, I think the guy's name was Wilbur something. Somebody can look that up, who invented the calorimeter. But it's a measure of energy. A calorie is a measure of energy. Somewhere in the 1800s, he put stuff in a calorimeter and figured out how many calories, how much energy was in each item. The calories on the stuff that you eat, nobody shrank down a spaceship to a microscopic size, flew in to the food and used some devices and sort of measured that rice and flew back out and said, we can confirm that this rice is 25 calories per serving, and a serving is 1 cup. Now, it's an estimate, and the estimate can be as much as a 25% fluctuation. I learned this in my precision nutrition coursework to become a nutrition coach. So it could be a 25% variance, so that 100-calorie item could be 75 calories, could be 125 calories, don't really know. Second thing, because I know people do calories for the precision, and it is helpful for that. Second thing is, nobody knows how much of the calories listed your body absorbs. People have varying levels of absorption rates, right? So we don't know. So now that's another 25% variance. So did I eat 100 calories? Did I eat 50? Did I eat 150? Did I absorb it? Like, there's not the precision with calorie counting that we expect scientifically, because there's not precision in the measurement of calories. So calories can sometimes be, calorie counting can be a perfectionist, it can be a perfectionist weapon of choice, right? I gotta get it exactly. And I understand that, man. You're going through things with your body and your life and your health, and you want to control those things, and I get it. But the first thing to really realize is you're not as precise with your calories as you think. Maybe that takes a little pressure off. Maybe I just scared the shit out of everybody. I don't know, but that's the truth. The second thing goes back to my first answer about grace, right? This client, who's an awesome human, said, I'm doing this new thing and it's frightening. It's uncomfortable for me. I don't feel like I'm in control of it. Help me. And my mind immediately goes to, look at you doing something unusual. Look at you attempting something that you've never attempted before. Look at you stepping out and being willing to have a growth mindset about something and really trying and faltering and coming back and trying again. Do you see how amazing you are in that endeavor, right? That's where my mind goes to immediately, because that's what's happening. That's precisely what's happening in this situation. And again, clients struggle to realize their own awesome so often that it's incumbent upon me as a coach to make sure I point you back to your own progress. And for this person, and I know who it is, for this person, with all the diet culture that they've been inundated with for, we'll say, since age 6, because generally speaking, there's a research study by Lowe's and Tigerman that shows that women on average develop dissatisfaction with their body around age 6, and it's predicated on what they witnessed with their parents, which is why I'm so big about not doing certain things as a coach that works with women. But in any case, so from 6 to 49, so for 43 years, you've perceived yourself, your relationship with food, your body a certain way, and you've been constantly inundated with that societal pressure. You're a month and a half into this program, and you're already finding the wherewithal to combat against that rehearsed behavior. Of course, you're going to sit down and see calorie stickers on everything. You're supposed to. You haven't evolved from that place yet, but man, look at you giving it the attempt. You're trying, you're present, you're showing up, you're asking questions, you're trying to utilize and build a different habit. When people tell me this phrase, they tell me, I know what to do, I just don't seem to be able to do it. It's a phrase that invites too much pressure on you as a person trying to make a change. For me, and this is the way I explain it back to them, I'll say, you know what you just told me? I say, you just told me that I know how to speak my language. I know how to write my language. I know how to create a story. I can compose a paragraph in my language. And now, Ren, I'm doing it with my non-dominant hand. If I'm right-handed, I'm now writing everything with my left hand, and I just don't understand why it's not legible and doesn't look beautiful. It's not supposed to be, sis, right? You're taking something so comfortable, something you've learned so intensely for so long, like writing your name and your address and a short story about yourself with your dominant hand, and you're judging the hand that you've never practiced with based on the hand that you're used to utilizing. That's not fair, sis. You're not being fair to yourself, Instagram. You need to deploy a bit more grace in this endeavor to give yourself time to suck at it long enough to be okay at it, long enough to get good at it, for long enough for results to happen so you can get great at it. But submitting yourself to the practice is, in and of itself, a form of result, right? We often don't consider the fact that when we submit ourselves to a practice, we are we are we are operating in the result already, because most people will not submit themselves to a practice, especially something as uncomfortable as unlearning all your rigid nutritional principles that have failed you your entire life, right? And relearning something that's a little bit more gentle, relies a little bit less on control, leans a little bit more into a relationship, and is going to serve you better going forward. So hats off to you. Ship me some of those sweet potatoes, though, because that whole chicken Brussels sprout sweet potato sounds delicious. Question number 4, moving right along. If you're just joining us, it's a live Q&A that I do for my clients every week, every Tuesday at 7:30. On Mondays, my clients ask me questions. On Tuesdays, I answer them in a live format. I've included everyone in this live broadcast because it's enrollment week, and I just want you to see sort of what we do. So there's a lot of people watching on the line here. I've got Facebook, I've got Instagram on the camera, on the phone, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and X, and YouTube are on the camera. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for rocking with me. Question number 4 from my clients. How do we plan for meals when we're supposed to eat when we're hungry, right? This is a good one. You gotta, what, that doesn't make sense. So we'll go through the whole question, then I'll explain. Example, I'm going out to dinner at 7 p.m., 5 p.m. rolls around and I'm hungry. Do I honor my hunger and eat to 80% full? Then what do I do at dinner? It sounds like a no-brainer, but I've struggled with this for many years. Eating a small snack, then overeating at the actual dinner time. Brunch is a nightmare. So I think you guys can see that we have another opportunity to be gentle with ourselves, right? But as adult humans, we want to know, as adult humans, we want mastery at the same time that we are introduced to something. We want introduction, mastery, nothing in between. And this is something that this client has struggled with for a long time. So we talk about eating when you're hungry. This is something that we talk about in the context of our program. I do nutrition and I do exercise with the clients that I have. And what we're trying to do is learn to honor the signals that our body gives us, because the body gives us really clear signals that we kind of aren't able to interpret anymore because of all the things we've been taught nutritionally, all the rigid nutritional practices, all the, and I'm not down on calorie counting, but my experience overwhelmingly is that it hasn't really served any of the people that I've worked with for a long period of time. And I'm not judging you if that's what you do. And I'm not saying it's wrong if you're a coach here and that's how you operate. It's just from what I've observed for the kind of clients that I attract. So this person says, if I'm supposed to eat when I'm hungry, well, what am I supposed to do? Because I'm hungry right now. It's 5 o'clock and I'm going to go eat at 7. So how I simplify that is honor your hunger at 5, eat slowly, eat mindfully, and then at 7, you get to honor your hunger again. Now, what I believe is happening with the idea of going to dinner after eating at 5 is one of two things. Either A, the replaying theme of you asked for all that food, you better eat it, young lady. These parental guidance systems that we got at formative years that were really lessons about finance and not lessons about nutrition or health, but you ordered all this food, you asked for all this food, you better eat all of it, young lady. We don't waste food in this house, right? What about the starving kids in XYZ third world country? And that plays out, right? We go to do these things, and those repetitive patterns, that imprinting, those voices play in our heads. What I would do in this situation, absolutely eat at 5. I'd absolutely eat at 5 o'clock when I'm hungry. And at 7, when I go to dinner, I'd order something that also honors how I'm feeling at the time, with the understanding that, number one, there is no challenge for me to finish all of what the restaurant served me, number one. Number two, I don't owe anyone at the table any amount of consumption, right? Like, you don't like how much I've eaten or not, piss off, right? quite frankly. And I'm a people pleaser. I'm an easygoing guy, but nobody's going to dictate how I should eat at a dinner. But I'm just going to go there and eat. I'd get something that I liked. I'd eat it slowly. When I got signals that I'm full, was off of the plate or on the plate, I'd stop. The waitress, waiter, some come by, say, "Hey, could you box this up for me?" And because it's no longer the 1980s, what's up? Because it's no longer the 1980s, and they got air fryers and slow cookers and rice cookers and microwaves, I just eat it later, right? Sometimes we have a lot of anxiety about checking the boxes of a program, which is why I'm not very rigid nutritionally with my program, because you can see that there's a certain amount of pre-installed food anxiety in this question, right? Now, I didn't install that, but I don't want to nurture it, right? I want to simplify it, and I'd give the simplest answer like the one that I'm giving now. I'd say, "Hey, hungry at 5? Go ahead and eat." Well, what will I do at 7? I don't know. It depends on how you feel, right? You feel like you want something to eat? Go ahead and order it. What if I don't eat it all? Save it. Eat it later. It seems simplistic when I'm expressing it that way, but I need to deploy a lot of empathy for the fact that this is a very real and difficult situation for this person. So I just want to ease them into the understanding that you have autonomy and agency and permission to eat anytime you want and anything you want. Now, don't mistake that for you need to go eat everything that you think of and anything that you can think of. That's what I'm saying. For a lot of us as adult humans, we've never been granted permission to eat what we want, and for women even less so, right? There's always some pre-attached connotation to your nutritional choices. I don't believe in. It's not even that I don't believe in that. It's that the research of food psychology, behavior change teaches us that that is not necessary. I'm not the only one that went through the program that I went through at Precision Nutrition. They're a multi-million-dollar international corporation that certifies coaches all over the planet for nutrition. So they didn't make this up for me to be able to come here and say it. This is the reality. You have full permission to choose when you eat, what you eat, and you have full permission to enjoy what you're eating and stop when you're done. And it seems so radically different from what people were taught. My client Lynette has a comment. She said, I drink a protein shake, banana, right, to hold me over, and then eat the meal at dinner. It's what we do in the context of our program. And I can't show you this in a before and after, but this is how we diffuse the ticking time bomb that's going off in here that's making you batshit crazy every time you eat, right? Toddlers, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds don't need to be taught how to eat, right? Think about the process here. Eating is an event that slows the house down. Oh, she's ready. I think she's hungry. She's ready to eat. Are you ready? You ready to eat, sweetie? You ready to eat? Honey, go get the thing and get her favorite thing, right? As young humans, we know to prioritize feeding because it's important, or at least the people who are giving birth to us have. And then you know what we do? We eat slowly as young people, right? The choo-choo train comes in. The airplane was my favorite. I'm an airplane guy. The airplane comes into the hangar, and it's a good sweet. Oh, you love those carrots, don't you? Right? And people sit, and they wait, and you eat. And when you're ready, as a child, right? And then slowly they feed, and you sit, and you take your time. And what happens when the toddler's had enough? See, you were born with that. That was installed before you were shipped. And then here's what, I'm off on a rant here. And then here's what happened. Society intervened in your natural ability to eat until you were satisfied and not overeat by telling you honey, the school bus is coming. You better hurry up and finish your food. And you started eating quickly because the people around you who love you and didn't know better, the people around you started teaching you that there were more important things than fueling, satisfying, and nourishing your body. So it got put on the back burner. Now feeding is something that's in the way, right? Hurry up and eat if you want to go outside and play. Hurry up and eat if you want to watch a show. Hurry up and eat if you want to go to the movies. It was never after that. Take your time, spend some time with the meal. When you're satisfied, just stop eating, and you don't have, and then heaven forbid, you ask for some food and you stop too early. Now you ask for all of that, you better eat every bit of that food, right? Now, what plays when you sit down in a restaurant? Shit, I asked for all this. I better eat all of this food, right? Hurry up, right? Don't waste it, right? Like the economic lessons and societal lessons intervene in the natural order of what your body was conditioned to do. Because you don't need a poop plan from me. You're not going to be sitting at work at 2:30, have to go number 2, and say, my coach said I can't poop until 4, so I'm just going to try to hold it. No, your body signals you. I'll be right back. I'm going to the bathroom, right? Now, let's think logically about this, and then I'll get back to the questions. But people laugh at me when I say this, but let's think logically about this. Why would nature, if you believe in nature, or science, if you believe in science, or Jesus, if you believe in Jesus, or the universe, if you believe in a benevolent universe, why would it give you all the proper functions to excrete waste, poop out what you eat, but on the counterbalance, not give your body any ability to know when you should eat or how much? Does that make any logical sense? That somewhere up there in heaven, Jesus was like, all right, I want you to let him know when it's time to poop, but for shits and giggles, don't let him know when it's time to eat. That'll really mess him up. Or the universe in its construction or its evolution and its ability to evolve us for survival for all the years of life. That doesn't make sense. And when I tell people we're not going to calorie count, you're going to eat slowly, and we're going to reconnect you with the signals that your body already has pre-installed. People are like, that shit's crazy, Ren. That'll never work. And then clients like Lynette, who's here watching, spend a little time with it, and now she's got her husband and her son eating that way and sharing that information and simplifying nutrition. Right? They're all for it. She told me last week, she's like, hey, my husband and son, they eat stuff they never ate before, and we all in it. So I say that to say that's my answer to that question. Next question, we're going to wrap this thing up soon. So coach and cuz, my cousin asked me this one, and she's on the line. What's up, Pam? So coach and cousin, what do you say about probiotics? Is gut health something I can and should be working on? I'm not the most regular person as far as movements. She said, what the hell? I already talked about vaginal dryness. So Thanksgiving is going to be the bomb this year. So would probiotic supplements help in that regard? All right. Weighted question. And she only asked weighted questions. So number one, yes, your gut health is important, right? We're just beginning to understand the seriousness of gut health. And when I say gut, I mean the bacteria that's in your gut, the microbes, the microbiome that's in your gut that protects you as a human. And whereas we always understood that there was a brain to gut connection, you know this if you've ever been nervous and felt butterflies in your gut, right? We now understand that there's a gut to brain connection. And for instance, serotonin, a happy feeling hormone, we know that upwards of 90% of serotonin is produced in your gut, and the happy feelings go to your brain, right? We often call the gut the second brain these days, and we've got two fundamental types of bacteria in the gut. I can't pronounce either one of them, lactobacillus cactus, but I do understand that one of those microbes in the gut, one of those types of bacteria, helps with the production and secretion of serotonin. It also helps with body fat reduction. The, apparently, people that are, I don't really want to say this, like, apparently people that have lower levels of body fat have a certain predisposition to the other type of bacteria in their gut, right? The friendly bacteria. And that gut bacteria loves and thrives off of fiber, fruits, vegetables, fiber, fermented foods, your sauerkraut, your yogurts, your sourdough breads, your kefir, your kombucha. Fermented foods feed that healthier, happier gut microbiome. And this is part of the reason why when we get sort of depressive thoughts, we crave certain things, because that gut microbiome drives that certain thing. So when you're feeling depressive and you're eating junk food, you're eating ultra processed foods repetitively, you're kind of literally eating depression, because it's going to cause that second type of gut bacteria to thrive. That's what it wants to eat. The first kind of gut bacteria wants healthy, happy foods like, again, fibrous foods, fruits, vegetables, leafy greens, probiotics that you get from food, right? Kefir, yogurt, sourdough, what else? Kombucha, kefir, those type of things, sour creams. Fermented foods are good for that, and fermented foods are a great source of probiotics. Now, when we talk about supplementing with probiotics, here's the challenging thing, right? Some of it's trash. You may not know it's trash. Some of the really good ones may be so expensive that it's priced in a way that you can't reasonably find yourself using that over and over. Because I'm a nutrition coach, I'm a food first type person. So I say, if you can get the sauerkrauts, if you can get the kombuchas, if you can get the yogurts, if you can introduce those fermented foods into your diet, you're getting a good healthy dose of probiotics. And when you're eating food, some of the food that you contain that leads to those probiotics also contains prebiotics to get the gut right and ready for production of the healthy microbiome. So to answer your question, cuz, yes, gut health is important. I think that we don't yet know how important it is. And I think in the next 5-10 years, we're going to see that a lot of things shift. Like, I've already heard stories of my clients, stories of people having fecal transplants. And yes, it's exactly what you think it is. It's where they take somebody else's poop and they put it in your poopy place, and having that other healthier poop in your poopy place changes your body. So we're on the cutting edge of this. That's a great question. I would say, if you're going to go the probiotic route, if you could, do it with food. The thing that I love about food, other than eating it, I love that food has the complementary things in it that help your body best utilize the nutritional ingredient that you're looking for, right? So oftentimes when you eat a food, when you get your supplementation, not the right word, when you're looking for vitamins, minerals, supplements that when you get them through food, it automatically comes paired with something that helps your body best utilize it. I can't think of a great example now, but I'm going to keep moving because we got another question. Question number 6, is menopause brain a real thing? Well, there's a great question. First answer, yes. Second answer, absolutely. Third answer, you bet. Menopause brain is a real thing. So let's look at what's happening here, right? So menopause, 3 spectrums of menopause. Perimenopause, yeah, definitely passing up on the poop transplant. Well, you never know. The night's still young, Lynette. Who knows what you might consider later on this evening. So menopause brain, first 3 stages: perimenopause, estrogen and progesterone doing this thing. Menopause, 1 day. Postmenopause, you've got a decline in a flat line of menopause. Actually, in late perimenopause, you have a decline in a flatlining of estrogen, specifically estradiol, and progesterone probably. Those 2 hormones are like the super juice of womanhood. If there was a heart-shaped herb a la Black Panther for women, it wouldn't be made of vibranium, it'd be made of estrogen. if there was a super juice, a super soldier serum, it would be made of estradiol. It's super important to a lot of your body, right? You may have, yeah, I'll send you the replay, but I don't know who that is on Facebook. But when I go back, I'll know who it is, and you might have missed the answer to your question. Sorry about that. Estradiol is important to the female body because it runs through nearly every system, and it helps regulate a lot of things. Yeah, it can save the life of somebody. Yes, that fecal transplant, it's a big. I've seen some, pardon my French, I've seen some revolutionary shit happen after somebody has a fecal transplant, like miraculous human type stuff. It's going to be a bigger and bigger deal as research gets better and better about it. It's a big thing. So menopause brain. So if your body has a receptor for a hormone, it means that hormone is important to that part of the body. Think of a receptor like an outlet and the hormone as a plug, right? So if you got a plug in the wall, that means that you can plug something in there. Hormone receptors, particularly estrogen receptors, run through nearly every system in the body, including the brain, right? So estrogen is important to the brain, particularly the hippocampus. The hippocampus, that part of your brain, sort of regulates your ability to lock in short-term memories to long-term memories. The hippocampus also regulates emotion, and it regulates, to a certain degree, sort of cognitive logical function. And the hippocampus has estrogen receptors in it, as most of the systems in the body do. That means that when estrogen starts to wane, it starts to reduce or fluctuate, some part of your body isn't getting the juice that it needs to operate properly. And in this case, that's your menopause brain, right? So lack of estrogen because it's fluctuating and then reducing. And it's the fluctuation that's more so the problem than the reduction. A lot of women report that they get back their cognitive function when they get into postmenopause, and some don't. Again, menopause is not monolithic. It will express itself wildly differently through every woman's body that goes through it, which is why we need to talk about it as much as we can. That's why I talk about it a lot. But yes, so menopause brain is real. You will find that you have impaired memory. In some cases, you will find that you have impaired emotional stability. And in some cases, you'll find that you have impaired cognitive function, like you just can't work things out like you normally would. So it's important to understand that that's a thing, because as my friend Amanda Thebe, who wrote the book Menopocalypse, said, she initially thought that she was getting dementia because she had never heard the term perimenopause. And this is a woman who was 42 at the time and was a personal trainer, right? This is an intelligent woman. She didn't know what perimenopause was until she had it. She was having migraine. It expressed itself in her case. She had migraines with aura, where half her face she'd lose feeling and connection in half her face. She'd have episodes where she would forget that an entire child played a sport. Like she got into a heated debate once with her son while they were watching the other son play basketball, because he said, yeah, Mom, it was like when I played basketball. And she was like, you never played basketball, right? She was accusing him of not being truthful, and he had to show her a picture of him playing. She completely forgot. So this woman thought she was sliding down the slippery slope to dementia, for God's sake. And it was just the effect of the perimenopausal estrogen fluctuations affecting her brain. So yes, menopause brain is a real thing. In some cases, and this is for you to decide with your doctor, in some cases, hormonal therapy can help attenuate it. But again, that's something to talk to your medical professional about outside of my scope of practice. Last question. Can you speak briefly about creatine? I've been taking 5 grams a day for about a year now. I take it every day, even on non-workout days. Is that the correct way to dose? Also, is there ever a time when a regular person, aka someone who works out but doesn't do anything competitive, should increase the dose? All right, great question. So this question is about creatine. Creatine is a supplement, one of the most widely tested and researched supplements if I was going to put something in the safe category for supplementation, creatine would be one of the things. Creatine is a substance that's created in the muscle, right? And what creatine does effectively, it helps you utilize muscle more strenuously for a longer period of time. Absolutely natural to the body. However, particularly in the menopause spectrum, when there's so much increased difficulty in getting a great muscle contraction, estrogen contributes to your body's ability to contract the muscles well, to generate power. Creatine can be really, really helpful because it can help you have a more thoroughly intense workout, right? And it's not a steroid. It's not something that has a negative effect on the kidney, and it's not something that's inherently dangerous in any way. Again, there's a lot of research about creatine, and it's one of the things that I would, per your appointment with your doctor, making sure it's not contraindicated, as doctors say, for you, based on your health and whatever other medications you take. I mean, you can never be too careful. But outside of that, creatine can be golden specifically for women in the menopause spectrum who are having a more difficult time generating the muscle power that estrogen previously helped them out with. So 5 grams a day, absolutely fine. Don't need any more than that. Back in the day, people used to dose it early in the process. They tried to what's the word? I can't think of the word, but they try to take more loaded. They wanted to load a loading dose. So they take higher amounts for the first week and then taper off to 5 grams or 3 to 5 grams usually. But there's nothing wrong with it. And no, there's nothing that would indicate that you need to take more of it as you progress. Although I think as we know now, or as I've been able to research, they say it's cool to take it for about a 5-year span. I think maybe at that point you taper off of it a little bit, give the body a rest. I'm not sure about that, but everything that I've seen says 4 or 5 years, absolutely safe of taking creatine. And it may be something that helps you get through those difficult workouts more, because my clients can tell you, yes, that's also true. The creatine is also helpful in that cognitive function. Thank you. Good save, Ada. That's the last question that we asked about the menopause brain. So that's another great benefit of creatine. I tell you, Ada forgets more stuff than I'll ever know. But it's not a bad thing at all. Great question. Absolutely okay to take it. It probably help a lot more women that are in this phase of life, because it's really, my clients will tell you that I am encouraging them at all times to lift heavier with greater intensity, because the muscles now need a bit more intensity to be able to perform the way that they used to, and muscle's so crucial. We can do a whole live broadcast on that. But I'm going to wrap this up and pay the bills, because once again, I'm currently enrolling no more than 5 women over 30 who want to build their healthiest body, their healthiest relationship with their body, their healthiest relationship with food, without calorie counting or macronutrient counting, without weighing or measuring their food, and without spending hours and hours on a treadmill or anything like that. If that sounds like something that would help you, my signature 12-week program or my signature 15-week program for women in the menopause spectrum might be the thing that you need. DM me the word live, L-I-V-E, DM me the word live up there at Facebook. I'll ask you about 5 questions in the DM to see if what I do might be a good fit for you. And we'll go from there. I'll be back tomorrow in the AM at 8 o'clock a.m. for everybody here. It's my daily live broadcast. Thank you for chiming in for this Q&A. This is the question and answer session that I do every week with my clients only in our private clients Facebook group. And I thought it'd be interesting to let everybody look in, peek in, and see what we do here. Clients, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Everybody else, I'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. for a live broadcast. Until next time, let's keep it simple. Thank you for rocking with me, all right? Facebook, there is a certain brand of that creatine that's better than another. I'm gonna send you that information. I think it's called Monarch is the brand, and it's a pretty reputable brand of that creatine. Great question. Great question. I'll get that over to you when I follow the trail of this comment. I'll see y'all later. Have a good night.